Good evening. Welcome to the National News Broadcast. I'm Kasuni Badachandra.
Good evening, I'm Lakshit Edrisingha, and to start off, we take a quick look at the headlines for tonight.
Three mutations of the Delta variant have been detected in the country. Coronavirus Disease 2019 Temporary Provisions Bill passed with amendments today. The opposition leader faces an issue related to medicines again. New mass media minister expects no personal image promotions through state media. Taliban requests Afghan women to be a part of a new administration of the country.
On to those and other stories in detail, starting off with the top story for tonight. State Minister Professor Channa Jayasumana says that 3 mutations of the Delta variant have been detected in the country. He made these remarks while addressing the Parliament today. State Minister Professor Channa Jayasumana said that the studies have revealed that several mutations have stemmed from the Delta variant currently being spread in the country. He said that they have been informed over 3 main mutations named SA222V, SA701S and SA1078S. He added that these mutations cause changes in the spike protein of the variant. He added that this could be one of the reasons for the rapid spread of the Delta variant in the country.
අනාවරණය කරගෙන තියෙනවා. එය ඇතැම් විට මේ රෝගයේ පැතිර යාම ඉහළ වීම සඳහා එක හේතුවක් වෙන්නත් ඉඩ තියෙනවා.
National Operations Center for the Prevention of COVID-19 outbreak has taken steps to ban weddings and other ceremonies from midnight today until further notice. The island-wide quarantine curfew from 10 p.m. until 4 a.m. came to effect from yesterday. The police said that 277 persons who had violated the quarantine curfew as well as quarantine regulations were apprehended in the last 24 hours. Accordingly, a total of 54,889 persons have been taken into custody thus far. A total of 12 roadblocks have been established within the Western Province. 635 persons who had attempted to cross the roadblocks without permission had been sent back yesterday. The vehicles which had travelled during the quarantine curfew imposed period have been thoroughly inspected by the police. The Kaluthura South Police have taken steps to strictly warn the persons who have kept their shops open in Vattumakada Junction in Kaluthura for failing to adhere to quarantine curfew yesterday. So far, 16,781,405 persons in the country have been inoculated with vaccine doses under the COVID immunization program. 2,209,659 vaccine doses have been given to the people during the last 7 days. 285,288 vaccine doses have been inoculated yesterday. The inoculating program was conducted in 224 centers covering 19 districts in the country today. The inoculation of the first and the second doses of Sinopharm vaccine was carried out at the center operated by Sri Lanka Army in Battaramulla theatre premises today. Sri Lanka Navy's Shakti vessel departed to Chennai port this morning to bring down clinical oxygen consignment purchased by Sri Lankan government from India. The vessel left from Trincomalee port, expected to reach the Chennai port by tomorrow morning. This initiative was carried out in accordance to instructions directed by President Gotabaya Rajapaksa to Navy Commander Vice Admiral Nishantha Ulugathanna in order to avoid any delays in transporting the ordered consignment in ports. Dr. Channa De Silva, attached to Lady Ridgeway Hospital for Children in Colombo, said that the treatment for COVID-19 infected children in their own residences should be carried out under strict medical supervision. Meanwhile, the services of the Public Relations Division of the Employees Trust Fund Head Office in Narahempita has been temporarily suspended from today until further notice. Accordingly, the Trust Fund has requested to put the applications to receive the funds at the secured box placed near the security unit at the head office or direct via post. The Association of Specialist Family Physicians has said that no patient has died under the medical supervision of the patient home isolation and management system. 2,663 COVID-19 patients were detected from the country today. Meanwhile, 2,283 patients left the hospitals today following recovery. A total of 275 random rapid antigen tests had been carried out at the parliamentary premises this morning. Accordingly, Sergeant-at-Arms Narendra Fernando mentioned that 12 persons from parliamentarians, staff, members of the security divisions and media personnel have been tested positive for COVID-19. The close contacts of the infected persons have been directed to quarantine. He further said that a decision has been reached to proceed with the parliamentary functions with a limited staff from tomorrow until further notice. Minister Keheli Rambukwella has instructed to establish committees on ministerial level for the prevention of COVID-19 outbreak. The minister has directed these instructions during a virtual meeting held with ministry secretaries to brief on how to act before COVID-19 outbreak.
The number of children hospitalized with COVID-19 in the United States hit a record high of over 1,900 as hospitals across the South were stretched to capacity fighting outbreaks caused by the highly transmissible Delta variant. The cumulative total of confirmed COVID-19 cases in the United States surpassed 37.7 million, with the death toll reaching 638,000. The Delta variant, which is rapidly spreading among mostly the unvaccinated portion of the U.S. population, has caused hospitalizations to spike in recent weeks, driving up the number of confirmed and suspected pediatric COVID-19 hospitalizations to 1,902 last Saturday. Children currently make up about 2.4% of the nation's COVID-19 hospitalizations. Children under 12 are not eligible to receive the vaccine, leaving them more vulnerable to infection from the new highly transmissible variant. The numbers of newly hospitalized COVID-19 patients aged 18 to 29, 30 to 39 and 40 to 49 also hit record highs this week, according to the U.S. Centers of Disease Control and Prevention. Medical professionals have been struggling to handle the new wave of infections than the original start of the pandemic. The U.S. now has an average of about 129,000 new COVID-19 cases per day, a rate that has doubled in a little over 2 weeks. The number of hospitalized COVID-19 patients is at a 6-month high, and an average of 600 people are dying each day of COVID-19, double the death rate seen in late July. Arkansas, Florida, Louisiana, Mississippi and Oregon have reported record numbers of COVID-19 hospitalizations this month, pushing healthcare systems to operate beyond their capacity. Japan was set to extend its state of emergency in Tokyo today and other regions to September 12th and widen curbs to 7 more prefectures as COVID-19 cases spike in the capital and nationwide, burdening the medical system.
Japan was set on Tuesday to extend its state of emergency in Tokyo as COVID-19 cases spike across the country. Curbs were also expected to be widened to 7 more prefectures as cases burden the medical system. The restrictions will include asking restaurants to close early and stop serving alcohol in exchange for a government subsidy. For a local part-time karaoke employee in the southwestern city of Fukuoka, it's affected his paycheck.
The karaoke lounge has shortened its business hours, so I've had a pay cut. That's why I'm trying to cut back on my food spending and other living costs.
The state of emergency will be extended to September 12. Some analysts estimate that it will cost the country nearly $11 billion and could slash 66,000 jobs. And some research has projected the total economic loss to set the country back nearly $11 billion and slash 66,000 jobs.
Now, in the meantime, New Zealand's Prime Minister Jacinda Ardern put the nation under strict lockdown today after 1 new community case of the coronavirus was reported in its largest city of Auckland, the country's first in 6 months. All of New Zealand will be in lockdown for 3 days from tomorrow, While Auckland and Coromandel, a coastal town that the infected person had also spent time in, will be in lockdown for 7 days. An unvaccinated 58-year-old male tested positive for the virus, had travelled to other parts of the country and had obvious links to the border. Imposing its toughest level 4 lockdown rules, schools, offices and all businesses will be shut down and only essential services will be operational. Prime Minister Ardern said authorities were assuming the new case was a Delta variant infection, although this has not been confirmed. There may be other cases, she said. The country has reported about 2,500 confirmed cases of coronavirus and 26 related deaths, but New Zealand has been slow to vaccinate and has fully immunized less than 20% of its population.
Moving on to more local stories, Prime Minister Mahinda Rajapaksa has instructed to provide relief for the fisheries community. The relevant instructions were directed during a meeting held with State Minister Indika Anuruddha. During his tenure as Minister of Fisheries, Prime Minister Mahinda Rajapaksa initiated a project to establish and develop fisheries villages. The Prime Minister directed instructions to further develop these fisheries villages. Prime Minister Mahinda Rajapaksa has constructed more than 60 fisheries villages in coastal areas and surroundings of reservoirs. The Prime Minister at the discussion pointed out that measures have to be taken for the uplifting, development and maintenance of these fisheries villages, as well as to allocate provisions to extend relief for the residents of these villages. Prime Minister Rajapaksa instructed to prepare a proposal to be presented to budget for the year 2022 in this regard. The Prime Minister has also informed to look into the possibility of inaugurating new housing projects in fishing villages. The Prime Minister informed the State Minister to look into the possibility in initiating a new housing project in relation to the fisheries villages.
The Coronavirus Disease 2019 Temporary Provisions Bill was passed in the Parliament with amendments today. Former President Maithripala Sirisena said that the shortage of hospital beds, inadequate facilities in intensive care units in hospitals as well as shortages of resources in health sector are not issues solely faced by the country. He added that many other countries have been overwhelmed with such issues as well. Opposition leader Sajith Premadasa said that there is a shortage of medicinal drug tocilizumab provided for patients with severe COVID-19 conditions at present.
ඔබතුමා දන්නවා මේ බෙහෙත් ගැන කතා කරනකොට ටොසිලිසුමාබ් ගැන කතා කරනකොටත් මේ සභාවේ hina වුණා ඔච්චම් කරා විහිළු කරා අද විහිළුව මරණයට බවට පත් වෙලා එතුමා ප්ලැකනිල් ගැන කියලා එදා අමාරු වෙන්න වගේම තමයි
State Minister Channa Jayasumana said that the opposition leader should obtain advice from physicians when issuing such statements. He said that such statements could create a crisis situation among the public. He said that the said medicinal drug is provided for 1 out of 100 patients in severe COVID-19 conditions. He added that there is a higher percentage in patient mortality from the usage of the said medicinal drug if it has been provided without proper supervision.
New Minister of Mass Media Dallas Alahaperuma met with the head of state media institutions today. The meeting was held at the Ministry of Mass Media. Assuming ministerial duties yesterday, Minister Dallas Alahaperuma directed attention on the present operations progress, financial situation and probed into related issues of the state media institutions during the meeting with the heads of the relevant institutions. The minister pointed out that state media should take measures in bringing the development activities of the government to the public and to build a positive media culture in the country. The minister further emphasized that his aspiration is to see state media institutions to fulfill its duties towards employees as well as to the nation and not to promote their personal image. The minister said that he is expecting to meet officials of the state media institutions individually to formulate future plans in the coming days. Secretary to the Ministry of Mass Media, Jagat P. Vijayveera, was also present at this occasion. Minister Dallas Alahaperuma said that the success of the relevant field can be determined if all media rally together in fulfilling the implementation of this process properly. He said that the state media has to fulfill its responsibility amidst the global pandemic experienced by the country without isolating children. He said that special attention should be directed to educational programs for children with special needs. Also, he added that further attention should be directed to the usage of the Tamil language, considering the children in northern provinces. State Minister Ajit Niwad Cabral says that the government loses monthly a revenue of 572 million rupees from revoking the import tax on milk powder. However, he said that the government reached this decision in order to provide relief for the consumers. The State Minister made these remarks while speaking at the Parliament today. State Minister Ajit Niwad Cabral said that following the relaxation of lockdown measures imposed by many countries across the world for the year 2021, the price rate of 1 metric ton of milk powder has increased up to $3,338 by January 2021. He said that the price rate further increased up to $4,150 by May 2021. The State Minister further said that the local retail price rate on milk powder is expected to be increased with the global price hike, as 80% of the milk powder requirement in the country has been fulfilled through the importation of the product. Accordingly, he said that following the global price hike and the pressure on foreign exchange, the Cabinet of Ministers decided to provide tax concessions to maintain the price rates of milk powder. He said that the government revoked the custom tax as well as the port and airport development tax to maintain the rates. He said that this measure was taken to safeguard the consumer while maintaining the price rates in the existing levels. However, he said that the government is expected to lose monthly a revenue worth 572 million rupees through this move.
The Cabinet subcommittee appointed to present recommendations to resolve the teacher-principal salary anomalies was convened today as well. The meeting was held at the official residence of Minister Vimal Veerawansha at Malalasekara Mawatha, Colombo 7. Discussions were held with several trade unions today. Previously, discussions were held with 3 trade unions related to teacher-principal field. Discussions are scheduled to be held tomorrow as well.
The final Kumbal Perahara of Kandi Asala Perahara festival is parading the streets at present. The Tusker Nadungame Raja bear the sacred casket and began the procession from Sri Dalada Maligava at the auspicious time 7:05 p.m. today. This year's procession is taking place without the public participation due to the prevailing COVID-19 outbreak. The Tusker Nadungame Raja paraded in this year's Perahara festival, bearing the sacred casket for the first time today. Indi Raja belonging to the Sri Dalada Maligava and Vasana Tusker belonging to Ruhunukatragama Mahadevalaya also paraded in the procession today. The procession will return to the Sri Dalada Maligava after parading via the Dalada Street, Yatinuvara Street and King Street. The first Randoli Perahara of this year's Asala Perahara festival will take the streets tomorrow.
A Perahara festival would become more mesmerizing and elegant only with the participation of Tuskers. The same elegance can be observed in this year's Sri Dalada Perahara festival as well. We now take a look at a short feature on one of the most graceful Tuskers taking part in the Perahara festival. The Tusker Indiraja is the most senior and the leader of the elephant herd belonging to Sri Dalada Maligava. The Tusker was presented to Sri Lanka at the age of 8 by former Indian Prime Minister Rajiv Gandhi in the year 1989. The Tusker also had the privilege in parading the streets while bearing the sacred casket since 1993. The Tusker Indiraja also holds the honor in bearing the sacred casket for the most times during the last 30 years after the late Raja Tusker. Indiraja Tusker also paraded the streets bearing the sacred casket throughout the 10-day festival in 2009 amidst a shortage of Tuskers prevailing during that year. Indiraja Tusker has also been bestowed with the honor to bear the sacred casket at this year's Asala Perahara festival.
The government program to direct the people in the country towards a toxic-free dietary trend has been carried out successfully at present. Accordingly, many farmers have been involved in the usage of organic fertilizer as well as in its production. Accordingly, the production of necessary organic fertilizer requirement for the cultivations in the upcoming Maha season in Kadipura area, Dehiyattakandiya Mahavali C zone has been initiated by the Sri Lanka Mahavali Authority together with resident farmers. The project expects to produce 10,500 metric tons of organic fertilizer for the 21,000 farm families in the zone.
And that's all the stories for tonight. We'll see you tomorrow at the very same time. Until then, stay safe and good night.
Good night.